welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the Masquerade palette. This has been out for about 2 weeks now, and I've been playing with it quite a bit, and I want to share all my thoughts with you. So if you want to know all about this palette, see live swatches, know my thoughts, then just keep watching. So again, this is a Masquerade palette. This is by Juvia's Place. I do have another palette by them called the Nubian 2 palette. That one's just as good, but this one just has way more colors. Why don't I just go ahead and do a quick little comparison right now. So here's the size difference. You can see the palette, the newest palette, is quite larger than this guy. And remember, this guy is the size of the Lorac Mega Pro, so it is pretty much bigger than the other. So these shadow sizes are also the same, and I know a lot of people were asking questions about that to try to determine if they would want to buy this. And yes, they are just about the same size. The Nubian might be a little bit smaller, it looks like, but overall I think they are actually the same size. At least you make your judgment there, but I think they are the same size. Again, you should follow me on Instagram because I already posted swatches of this, but I wanted to do a video for those who don't have Instagram, and I wanted to continue the tradition of doing swatches for Juvia's Place palettes. So here's what the palette looks like. You get 16 shades. You get different kinds of finishes. 2, I would say. You get your, well, 3. You get your super metallic shades right there, and then you get like interesting shades right here. I don't know how to describe those exactly, but hopefully you'll see in the swatch what I mean. They're not as metallic and they're not as creamy, but they are still super pigmented. And then you also get your mattes, which are like the best mattes I've ever tried. One of the things I really love about this palette is that the first 2 rows are your super duper colorful and like wild shades, and then your last 2 shades are your warm neutral shades. That is a really amazing mix. I love that Juvia's Place did that. And the other thing, of course, you guys know is that I love the pigmentation on these. It is one swipe and you are done, and I'm not even kidding. I've never seen anything like this before, like this pigmented, this creamy. Seriously, if you get the opportunity to get this palette or to touch it, do it. I know that sounds weird, to touch it. Anyway, so those are my thoughts. If you want to see more thoughts on Juvia's Place shadows, go ahead and go to my other review video on the Nubian 2 palette. I go into depth as well. Also, the other thing I want to mention before I get into the live swatches is that I believe you can buy all of these or most of these individually, especially this guy. I know you can buy it individually. So, just thought I would throw that out there if you didn't want to spend $30 to $40 on this palette, which is typically what it is. It goes on sale a lot and it's kind of confusing, the price, but also there are tons of there are tons of discount codes online. If you just search Juvia's Place discount codes, that's what I did. Nikki Tutorials one came up and I got 10%. So we're gonna start with this row right here. This row is probably my favorite. So we're gonna start with the shade called G. It is this gorgeous ocean blue. Kind of has a purple hue to it, I want to say. Then we have the shade Molly, which is kind of like a celery green color. Also, 2 things. I'm not going to describe the color of each one because I'm terrible at that, and also I apologize if I mispronounce any of these. But what I did think was cool, hold on, before I go any further, is the first 2 rows are like African events, and then the second 2 rows are countries in Africa. I think that's the way they set it up. I saw that somewhere. So I thought that was kind of neat. So again, this is the shade Mally. Freaking amazing, right? I mean, that's got some serious metallicness to it. In fact, it kind of reminds me of what I'm wearing today, but this is not as punchy as that. And then we have shade Dahlia, which is a really pretty blue. Still full pigmentation on my finger there, but look at that. Gets me so excited. Then we have Zola, which is a really different kind of blue there. It's kind of like a lighter sky blue. Amazing. This all kind of reminds me of the shirt that I'm wearing. It's kind of funny. So there you go right there. Literally one swipe and I'm done, and it's full pigmentation. Look at that metallic goodness. If you love shimmery shades, get this palette. Alright, so now we're gonna put 4 more on my other hand right here. I don't know why I had to show you my hand. This is probably my favorite shade in the entire palette right here. This is Makeda, and this is what I wore in an Instagram post. Which, please follow me on Instagram because I do swatches, I do tutorials, I do eye looks, I do makeup of the day, I do challenges, blah, 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 blah. If you want to know about any of these things that I'm showing you on YouTube, go there. Alright, that swatch kind of got all over the place, but there it is. Still full pigmentation, which is awesome. Then we have a matte. This is exciting. This is the shade Zobo. I have not used this shade. I probably should have gone through and told you what shades I've used, but there it is right there. So gorgeous. Oh my god. Then we have one of my favorite shades in the palette. This is Calabar. See? I'm sorry that I mispronounced these shades. Gorgeous. That's not even doing it justice. Then we have one of those tricky, non-creamy shades right here. This is called Bori. It's a really sparkly, hot pink color. It's got gold flecks in it. Yeah, this one seriously does not feel as creamy as the others. It feels more dry. But still super pigmented, like you see. You can see there's some sparkle in there. This is in the shade Giza right here. Really pretty champagne color. So gorgeous. Oh my god. Love that. Love that shade. And we have the shade Burkina, which is a really good crease color that I like using occasionally. I've used it a couple times. It is a matte. I'm gonna double dip this because that didn't come up as pigmented, but there it is. Then we have another dry, sparkly shade right here. You know, that tricky one. This is Cairo. Orange sparkly shade right there. Still came up super pigmented though. Like, that's what I love about these shadows. Even though they're not super creamy, all of them, they're still really pigmented. And then we have another matte. This is Ada right here. Double dipping this guy too, just so you can get the full intensity. And there's those 4. This is kind of like a really red brown, so that's really nice. All right, so then we have the last row right here. We're gonna do it on this hand. This is in the shade Dahlia, right here. It's kind of a really pretty rose gold. I've done a look with this and it's on my Instagram as well. It's a really nice neutral go-to look that I've been doing a lot lately. This is, oh my god, this is probably my favorite shade right now. Oh, so pretty. And then we have the shade Zulu right there. It's a little bit lighter than Ada. This is Ada, it's more red. This is a little bit lighter, more brown. This one I did not need to double dip twice. Double dip, I mean, because double dip twice would be dumb. But there's that. That is called Zulu. Then we have Casablanca. This is like a really pretty copper. It's got super metallic powers in there. Look at that guy. Oh my god. And last but not least, another one of my favorite shades is Fulani right there. It's your darkest shade in the whole palette. And there it is right there up top. So here are my thoughts on this palette. So as I was going through the palette, this was the darkest shade, like I said, and that's fine with me because I feel like this is an addition to your collection. I don't feel like this is like an all-in-one palette. You have so many metallic shades, so many neutrals, which is great. The pigmentation is amazing, as you saw, but I still don't feel like it's an all-in-one, all-inclusive palette because I have had major trouble using just this palette, but I do really like it. And I think if you were gonna go, let me just quick show you the other one, but I want you to go see my swatches of this one in that video. If you were to go for one or the other, what do you think I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say this guy, the Masquerade palette, because you get way more variety. You get neutrals and colors, which I so appreciate. That's the type of person that I am. I like neutrals and colors in a mix of a palette. So that's my thought on that. Super great pigmentation. There's nothing wrong with this palette. If you want to test out some new palettes, I highly recommend both of them, but maybe this one a little bit more. And I think that's going to be it for me. You kind of know my rundown of these shadows. You can see the last 2 rows right there. How pretty is that? And again, I don't really like warm tones, but I feel like I can make these work. So, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, everyone.